So what's funny about this is I went on Twitter this morning and I saw that this movie had like a 96% on Rotten Tomatoes. I was like, oh dang, because I saw like a poster for this movie at my theater and even a standee, but like no trailers, no commercials for this movie. So I didn't even know it was really coming out this weekend. And then I saw how the great reviews. I was like, all right, I'll go see it. And it's definitely the best movie I saw this weekend. One of them days about when best friends and roommates discover that Alyssa's boyfriend has blown their rent money, the duo finds themselves going to extreme in a race against the clock to avoid eviction. From first-time director Lawrence Lamont, sorry if I said your last name wrong, we are talking their debut, One of Them Days. So like I said in the beginning, I never saw a trailer for this movie. I had no idea what the actual story was about. And so walking this theater today, I'm just stating a fact. I was the only white person in this movie. And you know what? That's fine, honestly, because some movies are always meant to be for other audiences, for different people, for different cultures. It doesn't really matter. It's always a movie that you can pay and go and see. That's what I did, all right? And you know what? I had a pretty good time with this movie. This movie is definitely wacky, and it felt such like an early 2000s comedy. It definitely reminded me of back in the day where we're like a lot of big budget movies were comedies, and this one is just a very low budget with a first-time director, and from the looks of an IMDb, a first-time writer. I mean, this is pretty awesome for these people and the production. Like, seriously, you got a movie made, and it's a comedy that's R-rated. And I had a good time. So, of course, beginning with the positives is Keke Palmer. She is great in everything. Seriously, I think she has such great charisma. She can just lighten your day just by, like, looking at her. I mean, she is so good in this movie. She's very funny. And there's actually a good little character motivation with her because she's tired of living paycheck by paycheck. And she wants to get this big job that she has an interview for at 4 o'clock. But rent is due at 6 p.m. after a complete misunderstandings with the boyfriend character, which I don't want to spoil anything because there's a really funny joke about him that I really liked. But also, the roommate of Keke Palmer is played by SZA. Sorry if I'm saying that wrong, but she is a singer, and this is her first time acting. She was hilarious. I thought she was so good in this movie. She felt like a very good best friend in this movie. The both of them working together, getting into a bunch of shenanigans, going through a ton of cameos and random characters at times. But hey, it's a comedy. You basically know the plot line, what's gonna happen. But as long as the movie makes you laugh, because that's what the comedy's supposed to do, then you've done your job. And that's what happened to me. I laughed a good often in this movie. Now, I will say, I have seen the trailer after watching the movie. Before starting this review, I actually watched the trailer to download the trailer footage for my video you're watching. The trailer does show some of the best jokes, at least to me. There is one scene involving blood I thought was so funny, and I hate veins, and I couldn't stand watching what was happening on screen, but I found it really funny and I enjoyed it. But again, the movie is just having a good time. Like, honestly, the movie has a good point of like community, building upon friendships, who you know, when you know them, and then moving on in life with those friends. And I really loved all of that. You have Maud Apatow in this movie as a side character who's basically a white girl that's moved to this community, which is very much a black community. And I just found it funny because people always say like, oh, this movie gonna be very political and racially like conversational. Honestly, this movie doesn't give a fuck. This movie's trying to be funny, and it does that. And I respect the hell out of that. This movie is not trying to say anything. It's not like one of those movies. This is a comedy. It's like, hey, we're gonna make you laugh, and we're gonna make fun of this white girl who's very oblivious to like everything and where her surroundings are. And I thought Maud Apatow is very good in this movie. She's also very pretty in my opinion. But overall, it was 90 minutes. I had a good time. I really there was nothing in this movie that made me feel like, hey, I shouldn't review this movie. Hell no. Go see this movie. It's got a good little friendship story. It's funny. Yes, it's predictable. Yeah, some jokes don't work. That's always the criticism for comedies. Always. Some jokes don't work, and that's gonna happen. This movie sometimes goes a little bit over the top. A few times involving CGI. That was like, yeah, that was the joke was alright, but the CGI and the outcome wasn't poorly great. But you know, it is what it is. I laughed. I'm gonna give One of Them Days a B+. If it's playing your local theater, give it a chance, honestly, because it's really hard these days to get comedies into movie theaters. They're always going to streaming, and they're always really bad. It's very rare we get just straight up an R-rated comedy in a movie theater. Here's it is. It's funny. I liked it. At least I enjoyed it. But comedy's very subjective. And you guys enjoyed this movie review. I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye, everybody.